Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am excited to share this project with you. I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what's changed in my life and what's next for the channel. The wood you see being milled on the screen right now is a piece of cherry. This came from a tree we had to take down at my parents' house maybe 7 years ago. I let it dry for a couple of years and then I milled up the chunk I was able to save maybe 3 years ago to let it dry. I've made some projects out of the other chunks, but unfortunately those were not dry enough. This was before I had a meter to test things, and unfortunately those cracked and will require some repair work. But now that it's been a couple of more years, the wood is truly dry and I can work with it. And this is really beautiful stuff. I was really excited to make something important to me from it because the tree is from my childhood home. And how cool is it to be able to take something that you were so familiar with and be able to make something from it once again. It's a cool experience. So I'm planing it down and cutting it up so that I can make a sign for my shop. Because over the last 6 months I've been doing a lot of work in this shop to put it in a better position where I can film my projects and where I can do larger commissions. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing small commissions here and there, so the shop has been active. But I've been so self-conscious about posting anything on YouTube, and I've been dealing with a lot of life circumstances and broken equipment that made posting on YouTube incredibly difficult, that I really just got into a rut of not sharing or posting or doing anything else like that. Not just because of COVID, although that was certainly a problem, but over the course of the last 3 years, my family has just been through a lot of really difficult times. Illness and health scares and job loss and family loss and a whole bunch of things that just were, and you have to deal with them right then and there. They were critical or an emergency of something that you had to focus on, and they were always hard to deal with. And the more and more of those things that piled up, the more and more I felt like if I just work hard enough, if I'm just do things the right way, it's all going to be okay. If I just hunker down and survive, I'll get to the other side of this thing. But then things kept happening. It felt like every 3 months there is a new critical or tragic thing that just had to be dealt with. And things just weren't getting better. I was hopeless. I was constantly fearful that nothing I was going to do was good enough and nothing of who I am was good enough, which is something I have dealt with for years and years. The key reason why I don't really share on YouTube anymore is just I felt like I have only produced a few good videos. I have never felt like I was good at a bunch of these things, like no good ideas. The list of, self-attacking statements can go on and on and on. Not the point of this video. It was getting to the point where just, no matter what I did every day, I just felt wiped out and hopeless and dark. And that just wasn't good. I've always been a Christian. and I typically don't just push my Christianity out there because of so many people I have met who have been either harmed by a church or someone who claimed that they were a Christian or things like that. So it always made me nervous that I didn't want to push my Christianity out there because then it would remove an opportunity for me to build a relationship with somebody. And that's not good. Christians should be known by their love of people and their character during critical times. Their character during crisis. Christians should be people that you are excited to talk to because they are fun, loving, happy people. I was none of those things. I don't think I treated anybody poorly. I know I lost touch with a lot of people because I just was so overwhelmed. And for any of you that I've hurt feelings or lost touch with over the years, I'm sorry. I was in such a bad place and I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't even know I was in a bad place, honestly, until fairly recently, after things started to get better. Because I just was in this slow decline for so long of holding things together. But about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more, nothing specific happened, but because of all of the life circumstances and all of my personal doubts and issues mentally and emotionally with myself, I just was lost at sea, and I just felt like there was something more than just trying to survive. Just trying to knuckle down and survive. There had to be more. So my wife and I started reading our Bibles again. Started getting connected again. Not with each other, but with God and with church and stuff like that. And it didn't happen immediately, but I noticed that the more that I did it, the more I would sleep better and wake up and feel hopeful, as opposed to kind of sleep, wake up and feel dreadful. So a few months would go by and I would notice that like I'm 1 inch more towards being hopeful and joyful again. Then a few months would go by and another tick of being kind of more hopeful and alive again, and not just this hunkered down surviving with no hope. You know, if you just work hard enough, you'll get through it. And then about 6 months ago, I realized that I really wanted to share videos on YouTube again. I never stopped wanting to do that, but I just have gotten so fearful and self-conscious over the years about what I put on YouTube. And I have made so many bad mistakes of just trying to rush things so that I had something to share versus taking my time and putting out a quality video, that I don't want that to happen again, for fear to drive me to make a bad video, even if it was a decent project. I would rather make an excellent video about a project that went terribly so that someone out there can gain something from it. Hope, inspiration, or a laugh. I'll laugh at my expense, but a laugh nonetheless. So the last 6 months have been me cleaning the shop out, getting commissions back on track to just get off of my plate. The shop has been active over the last few years, but I just haven't shared any of it because nothing ever seemed good enough. Nothing seemed worth sharing because I didn't feel worth very much. But after reading the Bible and reconnecting and remembering that Jesus loves me regardless of my circumstances or what I've done, I just noticed one day. I woke up and I had a great day and I went to bed and I wasn't battling with my mental and emotional health all of the time. I was just so much lighter. Yes, I've lost weight and I've kept weight off, and that's great, but not that kind of lighter. I was light of heart. And I still have bad days, but instead of having 6 bad days and 1 good day, I'll have 6 great days and 1 bad part of 1 day. My circumstances have not changed. We are still in some really challenging circumstances. Some of them have gotten much better. Some of them have not. But I just am so much more hopeful. And when you're hopeful and when you're joyful, it's a lot easier to put in the long hours and the extra work to pull yourselves up and out of tough situations. So I made this sign out of wood that was important to me, a tree that I remember from a child and climbed on when I was a kid. It was a really enjoyable way for me to do something that I was always very nervous about doing, which is freehand carving with a router. But I just decided to do it. And if I made mistakes, I'm sure I could correct them. And if I made mistakes, I would be able to share people what mistake was made. Because that's a part of the story. Just like all of my mistakes are a part of my story as to where I am today, the stories I'll be sharing in this next chapter of my workshop will include a lot of mistakes, because that's a part of the story of how that project got finished. Including this Purple Heart coffee table, which we'll talk about in another video. So I wanted to share this because it felt like the most authentic thing for me to do. My life has changed for the better in the best way it could have possibly changed on my insides. I feel good on the inside. And it felt right for my first post of being back on YouTube to communicate as much. I hope those of you watching hear the heart of what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to say anything about your circumstances or the world's circumstances. I'm just trying to say that reacquainting myself with the Bible and God helped me go from a really dark place to a really light place. I'm happy once again. I'm joyful on the inside, not just because I have things that make me joyful, but like I'm joyful from in here. I want that for you too. Jesus loves you, regardless of the lies that are out in the world, or the things that people have done to you, or things you've done, or the circumstances that you're in. Jesus loves you and has an answer for you and a way for you that is filled with joy and light. Don't take it from me. I'm not trying to convince you or convert you of anything. I am sharing my own experience and my project as the right first thing for me to do back in the swing of things on this channel. For those of you who stuck with me over the last couple of years and reached out, my fellow woodworkers and YouTube woodworkers, thank you. I really appreciated it. And I'll be better about responding to people in the future. I just wasn't in the mental headspace to connect with people at the time. But I appreciate you sticking around. And I appreciate all of you who stayed subscribed. My goal is to make projects that matter. I do have commissions. I'll be filming a lot of those. I'll be filming a lot of the things that I've learned over the few years. There's a mile-long list of projects for me to get done over the next year, and I'm excited to share them. I have some non-broken equipment now for me to film and film better. I'm excited about that, and to produce videos at the highest quality that I can. Videos that would make my brother proud, because when I think of a high quality piece of production, I think my brother is the gold standard. And I hope you all gain something from my videos. Some hope, some inspiration, maybe a laugh at my expense as I share some of the stupid mistakes that I've made. And I hope that you stick around and get to grow with me on this channel. So thank you all for watching, and I hope that you find value in this and hear what my heart is trying to say, even though my words may have failed to communicate it appropriately. Until next time, thanks for watching.